feel like this whole card is full of close fights. And then you're telling me that Cody Gibson is a minus 205. So what's up, boys? Funky Bunch back at it again with another YouTube video. Today we're going to be breaking down Lemos versus Jandiroba. Quick picks breakdown. Let's get into it. First fight up, Mohammed Usman versus Thomas Petersen. Thomas Petersen is coming in at the slight underdog at minus 102. Mohammed Usman at minus 118. I feel like Mohammed Usman is probably just too big and too strong. I feel like Mohammed Usman, his wrestling is decent. He uses his strength really well. He jabs decent. This is a heavyweight fight. Skill level isn't that high. I'd say Thomas Petersen is a bit relentless and will look for takedowns, but in his last fight, debuting in the UFC against Jamal Pogues, he wasn't really able to get the wrestling going, and I feel like it's going to be the same. He's not going to be able to get his wrestling going, which is his best part of his game. So if he's not able to do that, I feel like he'll be able to get jabbed up. Usman might even be able to work in his own takedowns if Petersen engages in. And I feel like that he will be able to find the shot. I feel like Thomas Petersen kind of just bum rushes in. So I feel like Usman has the power to knock him out. He isn't really a finisher, even though he has power. He's kind of a little bit of a decision berg, and the skill level for heavyweight isn't too high, especially these guys. But I'm going to be picking Mohammed Usman by second round KO. Next fight up, Luana Carolina versus Lucie Pudilova. I'd say that this is a close fight. I feel like these girls are going to be scrapping. Luana is relentless. She'll keep coming forward. She is not fine with being on the ground. She'll keep throwing strikes. Will try to get up. Has her own takedowns. I feel like in the beginning I was really wanting to pick her, and I was pretty much on her throughout the whole time. But I feel like since this fight is at 135, Pudilova will be able to use her size. I think that the main thing is if Pudilova can get the takedowns, and I feel like in this fight, I feel like she can get the takedowns and be able to find the ground control time and just stay on top of her and win like that. I feel like this fight is going to decision either way. It's a close fight. I feel like striking, Carolina is a bit goofy, but she has good strikes. Pudilova is a bit more straight with it, so I feel like technique-wise, I feel like Pudilova probably edges it a little bit, but I feel like she'll be looking for the takedowns the whole fight, and I think that she'll get them and be able to secure 2 rounds. So my pick is going to be Pudilova by decision. Next up, Loik Radzhabov versus Trey Ogden. This is another close fight. I feel like this whole card is full of close fights, and I'd say that it's just whether Ogden can get the takedowns. I feel like he's a really safe fighter. He sticks to his game plan, and he really won't go too far away from his game plan, and I feel like his game plan is to just gas out Radzhabov and take him down and just kind of grind on him. I feel like Radzhabov has the power advantage. I feel like he has a striking advantage, and I think that he'll be able to stop the takedowns of Ogden. I think in the later rounds, he will struggle and he will probably fatigue. He will probably give up some takedowns, but I feel like the fact that he has the power advantage and he has a striking advantage is kind of making me lean towards him. It's not super high confidence, but Radzhabov has power. He has wrestling. He has takedowns of his own. I feel like for that reason, I feel like I have to go him. So not super high confidence, but like Radzhabov by decision is going to be my pick. Next up, Miranda Maverick versus Dione Barbosa, the Witch. This is our first real underdog, coming in at plus 185 for Barbosa and minus 225 for Maverick. I'd say that Maverick, she has better wrestling. I think that she'll be able to get the takedowns and control time. Barbosa has jiu-jitsu game, but I'd say that I feel like the fact that she took down her last opponent, wasn't really able to do too much. She didn't look too impressive there. Arguably lost that fight, and I feel like Miranda Maverick is too proven, has wrestling, and her striking is pretty decent. In her last fight, she went against Lee, and she looked fine on the feet, and Lee's pretty decent on the feet. I'd say the fact that she is capable on the feet, has takedowns, has control time. I think she's the better wrestler. She usually loses when she's actually the worst wrestler, and I feel like she's the better wrestler here. I feel like the odds are pretty good. My pick is going to be Miranda Maverick by decision. Next fight up, Cody Gibson versus Brian Kelleher. Brian Kelleher coming in at plus 170. Cody Gibson at minus 205. I don't know. I don't know what the love is for Cody Gibson. I feel like he has the output. He had a really good fight against Brad Katona, but I don't know. He lost to Miles Johns. Miles Johns is better than Kelleher for sure, but Kelleher has really only lost against decent guys. I mean, let's just look into it real quick. Right here. Brian Kelleher, I feel like he's only really lost his last three losses. Magomedov, Batista, Garbrandt got knocked out, and he got submitted by both of them. Um, I'd say that Cody Gibson doesn't have the power. Cody Gibson doesn't have the grappling. Cody Gibson doesn't really have the wrestling, and I feel like the way that Kelleher wins is by getting takedowns, and I feel like he'll be able to get the takedowns in this fight. Um, the striking might be. I think that it is towards Gibson. He has a better striking, more output, but he doesn't have the power, so he's not gonna chin Kelleher. The only problem with Kelleher is that he did have a neck surgery not too long ago. He did just get knocked out his last fight. He's clearly on his way out, but I don't know. I like that he can get takedowns against lower level people, and Cody Gibson is lower level. In his last fight, Kelleher was like a plus 140 against Cody Garbrandt, and then you're telling me that Cody Gibson is a minus 205, so he's a bigger favorite than Cody Garbrandt. How does that make sense? So I don't know how anybody's really betting on him. You can pick him, and it's fine to think that he's gonna win, but betting on him, I don't know. That's kind of shitting on Kelleher a little too much. So I think that Kelleher will get the takedowns. He'll get the ground control time, working for a submission possibly, but I think Cody Gibson's tough enough to survive. Um, I think that Cody Gibson is going to lose by decision, so my pick is going to be Brian Kelleher by decision. Coming up to the main card, we got Yeong Lee versus Hyder Amil. I think this is going to be a scrap, man. I feel like that Hyder Amil, I really like that he just pushes forward. He is, I feel like he isn't crazy high level, but you can see that this man is just dog tough. He'll keep pushing forward. He won't quit. I think that the problem with him is he can get taken down. Lee has some wrestling. He's pretty technical. He is pretty safe. He doesn't really take too many big risks. And I feel like Amil is there to get hit for sure. So it makes sense why Lee is the favorite, but I don't know. I really like fighters that can just throw down. Obviously, they'll get hit, but they'll just eat the punches. I feel like Amil will be able to gas out Lee. This fight could easily go decision, but I feel like Amil, his go-to is to just keep it on the feet, keep the pressure, keep the pace, gas out his opponent. He can get taken down. He won't really get right back up, but I feel like the fact that he is just always live, he'll always be relentless. I think that a fighter like that at plus, 154, he was plus like 170 earlier in the week. Give me a fighter like that, man. I feel like Hyder Amil, I really like him. Not super confident, but I feel like that he'll just have the pace. He'll outwork Lee, stop takedowns, or get back up. So give me Amil by second round knockout. Next fight up, Bill Algeo versus Choi, the Korean Superboy. He's back. I think that this is another close fight. This card is just full of close fights. I feel like a lot of fights can go decision. This one is a tricky one to pick the fighter and decision. I feel like Choi, he is slick. He has really good striking. Algeo is a bit crafty. He isn't as technical as Choi, but I feel like he can mix it in really well. He has takedowns, and I feel like that's what's going to make me pick Algeo is the fact that he can get takedowns. Choi can stuff takedowns, but I feel like in the Nelson fight, he's coming off like a 2-year layoff. He got taken down. That's how he lost the fight. I mean, Bill Algeo just got stopped by Kyle Nelson. So you can kind of look at how they managed in that fight. And Choi was beating him on the feet and kind of forced Kyle Nelson to take him down. And when Bill Algeo fought him, it was just a stand-up fight. Early stoppage for sure, but I feel like Algeo, I think that the fact that he's just been more active, has takedowns, I feel like I have to lean him. Isn't super high confidence, but Algeo by decision is going to be my pick. Next fight up, Bruno Silva versus Cody Durden. Bruno Silva was the underdog for pretty much the whole time. Flipped to a minus 118 favorite, and Cody Durden minus 102. I'd say that this is just dependent on if Cody Durden can take him down and just relentlessly chain wrestle, get ground control time. But I feel like the reason why Bruno Silva switched to probably the favorite is because he just has the better striking. I feel like if this fight is a striking fight, Bruno Silva is definitely winning. And I feel like that the fact that he was able to take down Tagir Ulanbekov shows that his wrestling is pretty good. He has good scrambles. He has submission game. I don't know. I feel like Durden is really tough. He is a dog. He'll keep pushing. I don't know. I feel like his striking just isn't quite there. He has the possibility of getting knocked out. I don't see him finishing Bruno Silva, but I can see Bruno Silva finishing Durden. And the fact that Durden has struggled by people that has submissions, and I feel like Durden will be shooting for takedowns a bit carelessly with his chain wrestling, and I think that he's gonna get caught up on the feet, possibly get hurt, shoot for a bad takedown, and get submitted in the first round. So my pick is gonna be Bruno Silva by first round submission. Next fight up, Kaynan Kruschewsky versus Kurt Holobaugh. I don't know. This is a low level fight. I think that Kurt Holobaugh, he has decent striking. He has power. Kruschewsky, he has power. He is a grappler. He has good submissions. It's like the same with Holobaugh. I feel like they're both pretty similar. The odds kind of have it right. Maybe it should be closer to a pick 'em. This is a really tough one. Even breaking it down, looking at the tape, both of them are really inconsistent. Kruschewsky has only 2 losses, but I don't know. He hasn't faced as good competition. I feel like Kruschewsky can get takedowns, and he possibly can just hold him down, but I don't think he's as good as Ogden. He's not good as Moises. He's fought Barcelos, Burgos, Jason Knight, even though he's kind of washed. Austin Hubert. I don't know. I feel like all those are better than Kruschewsky. I think that these guys will just kind of just scrap. I feel like both of them have good submissions, but I think that they kind of just throw down on the feet. So it's dependent on which one of them is going to get caught. And I feel like the cleaner guy is Kurt Holobaugh. He throws more combos. He is less hesitant to throw. He isn't as stiff. He might not have more power, but I feel like the fact that he's able to throw more punches, land more, be more accurate, he'll end up getting the KO. So my pick is going to be Kurt Holobaugh by first round KO. Coming into the co-main event, Steve Garcia versus Yeong Woo Choi. I feel like this is going to be a scrap for sure. I feel like both of them are going to throw down because Choi will get forced to throw down with Garcia because Garcia is just crazy. He will just stand in the pocket and just trade. And he usually ends up finding his shot. He has the power. Not a lot of people at 145 has power like him. He definitely shows up, looks for the knockout, tries to be entertaining. Choi, he kind of picks the more safe route. I think that he tries to be more technical, more safe, maybe working a takedown, not engage into anything crazy, but I feel like he'll get forced to. He is a bit chinny. He has been dropped. He has been knocked out. And I feel like Garcia, he's just one of those guys that he's always in it. I feel like he can get taken down. He can get dropped himself because he is really, his style lets him be open for a lot of shots. But I think that Choi isn't as technical to find those shots. And I feel like Garcia will just beat him to the punch. I think that this fight will end in finish. And I'm going to be picking Steve Garcia by first round KO. The main event, Amanda Lemos versus Verna Jandiroba. I don't know. I feel like Verna's game plan is pretty obvious. Get the takedowns, get the ground control time, possibly look for a submission. And I think that she can get the submission, but Lemos is pretty tough. Lemos has good power. She has better striking. She has faced probably better competition, but I feel like she has a lot of holes in her game, especially on the ground. Um, and that she barely got a decision win against Mackenzie Dern, and I think that was kind of a bad decision. Even though Verna lost to Mackenzie Dern by decision, I think that the way Verna loses isn't by getting knocked out, isn't by being worse on the feet. She usually beats strikers. Her problem is when she is the worst wrestler or when she is worse jiu-jitsu game. And I feel like she's the better wrestler and has better jiu-jitsu than Amanda Lemos. I think that if this fight is on the feet, Verna is definitely in trouble, but I feel like she's pretty safe. She isn't dead man walking on the feet, so even though she's cross-eyed, I feel like she'll be able to see where Lemos is at and get the takedowns. I think that this fight can end in finish, but since Verna's game plan is to kind of just take her down, Lemos is pretty tough, survived Wei Li Zhang, so I think that she'll be able to survive as well. So give me Verna Jandiroba by decision. And that's going to be my quick picks breakdown. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and tune into the next one.